Recent decades, there's just been an increase in childhood health struggles, whether it be autism, ADHD, immune struggles, asthma, allergies. All of these things combined make it really tough for our kids. And you might have tried everything. You might have taken, the lifestyle changes, the medications. You might have even looked the genetic route. And yeah, while the genetic route plays a factor, it's not often the only answer. And so today, we want to look at the underlying cause of it by looking deeper into the nervous system and one specific nerve called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is so key to the body because it is the parasympathetic regulator, meaning it helps the body rest, digest, relax, manage immune functions, all of these things. And that's why we want to talk about it. So, while other things play a big role in the body, if the vagus nerve is dysregulated, it can lead to a multitude of childhood struggles. And this was so true for a little 7-year-old girl that received this kind of neurologically focused chiropractic care. And her name was Anna. Now, Anna had a vast majority of immune struggles, respiration. She would chronically get clogged ENT and ear infections, and those led to febrile seizures. She had really bad temperature control. And as you can imagine, because she was so stuck in this cycle of sickness, her mood was dysregulated, sleep was tough, school was difficult. All of these things, mom and dad, they really wanted to manage this without medication. They want to say, okay, how do we get off the antibiotics? How do we not have to take all the over the counter things? Because we're nervous about febrile seizures. We feel trapped in this endless cycle. So her biggest goal when they found chiropractic through a friend was, hey, we've got to get her immune system more calm. We've got to get her respiration easier, where we're not thinking of, taking the steroids or the asthma medication or those things to get sleep better. And then the nervous system to then really help it refuel with all the other things, behavior and that as well. But they knew where to start. They wanted to look at the immune system and that regulation. Now, as a parent, not knowing where to turn, that can be tricky, right? Because you're not sure in the body. You're like, okay, if only I could get the ENT draining, those lungs and fluid draining and getting it out, and then the body really fighting the immune things better. Wouldn't that be great, right? But how do you go about doing that? Well, that's really where the vagus nerve is key and comes into play for our children. Now, the vagus nerve, it actually originates up at the very top here of the neck, the base of the skull, and it runs down, and it's the longest nerve in the body. It actually connects to the lymph fluid, it connects to the heart, it connects to the lungs, and then it goes everywhere in the gut. You've probably heard of the vagus nerve as the gut brain or the brain gut connection. It's what controls and regulates a lot of our digestion, but it regulates respiration, it regulates our heartbeats and our heart function, it regulates the immune system and our sensory response, all of these other things that come with it. So it's a key player in a vast multitude of childhood struggles. And when Anna was struggling with immune challenges, and in our office and offices like ours, we do what's called an insight scan. It found and it can find the vast majority of challenges just like Anna's, and those were due to vagus nerve dysfunction. The vagus nerve wasn't communicating properly in her body. Now, looking back at it in her story, her history, we had to dig in and say, okay, how did this happen? Well, the number one cause of vagus nerve dysfunction, and I'll say not maybe number one, but there's a vast majority of it, it really comes from early development, either prenatally or in delivery in the birth process. And the reason being with this is when kids are born and there is any type of birth trauma, whether it be vacuum birth, a forceps birth, a manually assisted birth, that's tough. This area in the upper neck is so compromised. So a physical stressor put in there from the environment can cause babies to start small phases of neurological vagal dysfunction early on. What this can look as early on is struggling to latch or to nurse, struggling to digest and to poop as an infant, struggling to sleep and maybe being a little bit more colicky or a little bit more low tone. All of these things are early signs that the vagus nerve may be dysfunctioning, and it's just affecting other areas. And then, like Anna, you get to 7 years old, and because of that physical stress here, the body's not draining, it's not signaling, the immune system's overwhelmed, and it's working with the vagus nerve and all those different systems and becoming overwhelmed and coming out symptom wise as febrile seizures, as chronic sickness, as behavioral struggles, really all of the above. So in our office, one of the most important things we do is we measure and quantify that stress. We're going to take a detailed history to dig in to say, okay, what struggled first? Where did that happen? And then we're going to take neurologically based insight scans. Now, these scans, they pinpoint the exact region and they quantify the struggle within the body of where the brain and the body just aren't communicating. Like I said, with the vagus, it can be up here in the brainstem where the vagus nerve originates. It can also be as we move down to the lungs and really into the gut and digestion. So those scans tell us so much. It's the vagus nerve that's impacting your child's health. We'll be able to find it. And what's awesome about Anna is when she was under care for about 2 or 3 months, the first thing that she started to experience was sleeping better. And this caused really that first 2 or 3 months when, she would deal with an immune challenge for her not to get overwhelmed with it because she was sleeping better. She wasn't having those febrile seizures anymore. She was able to get over those immune challenges in 2 or 3 days instead of them lasting weeks on end. This led to better behavior in school and her parents feeling like they had more momentum in life and not having to turn to medications or other things. And the other things that they really did, the lifestyle changes, the diet, the nutrition, the movement, things like that, those all worked so much better for Anna because her nervous system was in a much better place to accept it. So if you have more questions about the vagus nerve, or you feel like that may be the root cause of a lot of your child's struggles, we're here to help. We love digging into this, not only in their history, but in their neurology with these scans. So we'd love if you check out our link, ask more questions, shoot us a direct message. We would love to talk you through it and see if maybe it is the vagus nerve, because that is so key to your child's long-term health.